Action!
The king of the kitchen, the ruler of recipes, the prince of potatoes and of the veggie table. Here's Scott.
Well, hello. Welcome to Cooking with Scotch. I'm Scotch McScotch, and today, here in Scotchland, it's a very special day. Today is Applesauce Day. No, Harvey, it's not Applesauce Day. Harvey's over here. He's a really good guy. He's the best twin brother I ever had. So let's hear it for Harvey McScotch. Harvey!
We love you, Harvey! We love you! You're the best!
Yeah, he's a good guy. And Harvey's got some great music he's going to play for this very special day, which is National Sauerkraut Day. And to celebrate National Sauerkraut Day, we are going to make sauerkraut. I love sauerkraut. You know, I love it on hot dogs, on sausages. I like it with ham, beef, chicken, anything. It just has this wonderful flavor and great probiotics too, by the way. Another thing that I like about this sauerkraut, it's very, very easy to make. It only uses cabbage and salt. And I also like a little bit of caraway seed in there to give it that special Bavarian flavor. Oh, speaking about Bavarian, we have some guests with us today, and I need to introduce them. First of all, I'd like to introduce you to Inky and Dinky. They came all the way from Bavaria, and you know what? Inky Dinky brought their two children, Hansel and Gretel. Let's hear it for Hansel and Gretel. And Hansel and Gretel brought their two children, Hansel Jr. and Gretel Jr. Okay, we're going to need a head of cabbage. And some people use 2, 3, 4 heads of cabbage and they make this great big quantity and they can't eat it all, they give it away, whatever, it goes bad. I always go with 1 head of cabbage. It's enough to last. Now we have 1 head of cabbage right here, and as you can see, the outside has seen some better days, and that's what we want to get rid of. So we're going to peel off the bad stuff here and get down to the good stuff. So we've taken off a few leaves, and we're down to a decent head of cabbage. Now, making sauerkraut is a little bit mathematical. You got to make sure that some percentages are correct according to the weight of the cabbage. And because I'm not very good at math, I've asked Professor Wikigoogle to come and help us out with the math, but he hasn't shown up. Harvey, who's that? It's Professor Wikigoogle. Well, he's right on time. Well, hello. Hello, Professor Wikigoogle. Glad you could make it. What took you so long? Well, I was doing some long division. Okay, well, you gotta stand by because we're gonna throw some numbers at you and you gotta do the math. We're gonna have to weigh this head of cabbage. And my guess is it's about I'd say 1,500 grams. But remember, that includes the core, which we're gonna cut out. So the actual cabbage that we're gonna use is gonna be less Then 15, well, let's just weigh it up here and see what we got. $1,514 grams. Boy, can I weigh cabbage. And sometimes I get a cutting board that slides around a little bit. So what I do is I spray the surface here quickly with this little bit of water. Spray that. And then I put my cutting board right on top of that. And it's almost like it's glued. So I'm going to cut this cabbage right in half. And you can see the core that I want to cut out. Remember, that cabbage was $15.14. Let's calculate how much the core weighs that we're not going to use in the sauerkraut. Well, it's 88 grams. So Professor Wikigoogle, 1514 minus 88. That would be 1,426. 1426. I think you're right. We can discard this core. And that means that our cabbage now should weigh 1426. 1426. Professor Wikigoogle, you're a very, very intelligent guy. Thank you for doing the math. So when we cut the head of cabbage up into pieces, we have to make sure it's no bigger than this plunger that goes into the food processor. And so that's about the right size. Now, before I put this cabbage through the food processor, I want to get my salt ready. And this is where I need to call on Professor Wikigoogle, the mathematical genius, again. I've got 1,426 grams of cabbage, and I need 2.5%, 2.5%. Now, some people will go 2%. 2% is minimum. So I like the saltier taste, and I'm going to go with the 2.5%. So, Professor Wikigoogle, we started out with 1,426 grams of cabbage, and we want to multiply that by 2.5 in order to get the amount of salt that we're going to add to the cabbage. So tell me, sir, what do you come up with?
Well, that's easy. 35.65.
35.65 grams of salt. So we'll just call it 35. I think that'll be good. Now, I have in my pantry 4 kinds of salt. This is regular table salt, and sometimes it contains iodine, and it's not good for pickling or sauerkraut. So we're not going to use table salt. I also have kosher salt. Well, I've used it before for sauerkraut and pickling cucumbers, and it's okay. It doesn't contain any minerals that Himalaya salt contains. This is Himalayan salt called Sherpa Pink, and it's a coarse salt. And I'll just pull out a little bit here and put it on this counter. And you can see that it's a coarse grain. In fact, it says coarse grain right here. But the salt that I like to use for sauerkraut is Himalayan pink salt, but it's fine ground. Let me pour out a little bit of this finer. You know, it looks almost like table salt in the fine ground, and it dissolves a lot better. So I am going to use Himalayan pink salt, fine ground. And believe me, it makes a difference. So according to Professor Wikigoogle's calculations there, we are going to need 35 grams of salt. And I'm going to use the pink Himalayan fine ground salt. 35 grams is what we need. So before I send this cabbage through the food processor, I just want to mention this. This food processor comes with 2 slicing discs. This one has a coarse cut, and this one is a fine cut. So we're going to make it very thin. We want the cabbage to be cut very thin. So we're going to use the thin one. We're ready to go. Cabbage over here and sprinkle a little bit of this salt over it. Come back with more cabbage and we'll sprinkle some salt over that portion. Harvey's got some nice music going over there. I like it, Harvey. He's such a good musician, you know. He can play any kind of music. Put the rest of this 35 grams of salt on the top here. Now the next thing that I have to do is I have to massage this sauerkraut for quite a few minutes. I would say maybe 10-15 minutes. And also I need to pound it a little bit in order for the juices in that cabbage to get released. The salt will help the juices come out of the cabbage. So this takes a little bit of time. I don't worry about this little mess that's going on over here. I'll put that back into the cabbage. And I want to do this for about 10 or 15 minutes. It's really fun. What? Over in Bavaria, you used to step on this with your feet? Okay? I can feel the cabbage getting wetter. It's releasing its juices. That salt is doing what it's supposed to do. I think I'll just take a minute and get this cabbage back in the game. Hey Harvey, who you got in the Super Bowl this year? Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift? You know, some people will say you got to do this for an hour. I don't have an hour. You know, I got 10, 15 minutes. That's all I got for smashing cabbage into sauerkraut. I mean, I don't want to make a career out of this. I just want to make good sauerkraut. Well, I've been doing this for probably 8 to 10 minutes. It's looking pretty good. It's feeling pretty good. A lot of that cabbage juice has been released. I'm doing this just to show you how much water has come out of that cabbage. So now we're ready to put this sauerkraut into a crock so it'll ferment. This crock that I use is a perfect size for this cabbage, and it has a lid, and I have some glass weights I put in there. I've got this homemade thing, perfect for this crock. And I have this homemade. I think it's genius. It keeps everything below the water. So here we go. We're going to transfer this. And I want to make sure that I smash it down so it's compressed very well. Now I want to make sure that I get all the cabbage and all the cabbage juice. Now I want to put in this homemade thing. I made it out of an ice cream lid, and this goes right on top of everything. When you put it in, it expands out to the sides, keeps the cabbage from floating up. I then put this in there and follow that with these glass weights. And I'll press it down a little bit. Now I've got the cabbage below the surface of the water, which is important because if you don't do that, you're going to get some bad mold. We don't want that. Now, as a little extra insurance on keeping the cabbage below the water, I'm going to take, let's see, about 300 milliliters or 300 grams of spring water, and I need 2.5% of 300. Professor Wikigoogle. 7.5 grams. 7.5 grams. Well, that isn't very much. That's 8. That's good. So I'll mix this 7.5 grams of Himalayan pink salt into 300 grams of water. It's pretty well dissolved there. So we're just going to top it off. And now it's just a matter of putting the lid on. So now we have to keep the cabbage submersed below the water in the crock for about anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks. I like 3 weeks. It's right in the middle of mild and tangy. So I have to mark this crock, and I'll say kraut so I know what's in there. And then I'll say out, O-U-T. And let's see, today is it's the 4th. Thank you, 4th of December. And we want 3 weeks, which is 21 days, so 21 plus 4, 25. Yeah, December the 25th. 25, that's Christmas. December the 25th. And I'll put 12/25. There we go. I'll mark this up. And we'll slide this into the fermentation chamber, which is a dark spot underneath this little shelf. And Professor Wikigoogle, I hope that you will come back on Christmas Day, and we'll be glad to share this sauerkraut with you. Well, that would be wonderful. Have a nice day. And Harvey, we'll come back here in about 3 weeks to finish this video with, I hope, more music from you. Merry Christmas! It's December the 25th, and today we can eat the sauerkraut. It's been in the fermentation chamber for 3 weeks, 21 days, and it's ready to eat. Let's pull it out. Oh, and before I say, I'm happy that Inky Dinky could make it back here again. Unfortunately, their children had to go back to school in a faraway land. Harvey's in position. He's got some music to play. And we're going to get the sauerkraut out. Yeah. Well, excuse me, Inky and Dinky. Could you move your ink and your dink over this way a little bit? That's good. Now I can get to the sauerkraut. Here it is. It's coming out. Here it comes. Here it comes. Oh, it's out now. It's ready. Let's take the lid off and give it a whiff. Oh, it smells wonderful. Just like sauerkraut should smell. And it's looking pretty good too. There's no mold. Nope, no mold. There's always been the question, should you rinse the sauerkraut before you eat it? And the answer is, it's not necessary. The reason you would rinse it is to maybe reduce the salt. But if you rinse it, you're also going to reduce the probiotic contents that are in the juices too. So we might take a look at it. Maybe we'll give it a light rinse, but not a big one. All right, we're gonna take this over to the sink. So we'll take out the glass weights and this little homemade thing, and we're gonna take out this homemade thing. Now before I rinse the sauerkraut, I want to taste it first. If it has too much salt, then I'll rinse it. If the salt is perfect, just leave it alone. 3 weeks is good, and the salt is perfect. Well, I've got 3 22-ounce canning jars, which I'll fill up. Put my funnel in, hands on. Lids on. So now I'm going to label these 3 jars with this painter's tape. I'll put kraut, K-R-A-U-T, and I'll put 1225. There we go. There we go, number 1, number 2, number 3. So I'll put these 3 in the refrigerator. Now what I'm about to make is only available in Scotchland. It's a one-of-a-kind sandwich. You can't buy it in a store. You gotta be right here. And Harvey is right here. You know what I'm making, Harvey, don't you? The super duper special. The super duper special. Harvey loves the super duper special. Hey Harvey, you know what? You should call up Professor Wikigoogle, tell him to get his butt over here because I'm cooking it. He's not here. If he misses out, he misses out. What can I say? Give him a call. What's his number? 800 Professor Wikigoogle. Pretty simple to remember. Now to make this super duper special, we're going to start with some bacon. And we have to get the kibasi ready to go in. Harvey, kibasi's really good. Boy, that's a big piece. Harvey, that piece of kibasi was really good too. That bacon is done just the way we want it. Now we go in with the kibasi. Give everything a mix. Of course, that kibasi is already cooked, ready to eat. So we're just warming it up right now. Now that's looking real good. We're going to go in with the sauerkraut. And we're going to add just a little bit of sauerkraut juice to this. Now before we put the lid on it, we got to toss in some caraway seeds. Perfect. Give it a bit of a mix. Did you get a hold of Professor Wikigoogle? Yeah, he's on his way. Good. He doesn't want to miss out on this one. We're going to include some horseradish. Harvey, what time did Wikigoogle say he would be here? He didn't say. Well, we can't wait for him. We got to eat it. Sorry, Professor Wikigoogle. Harvey likes his rolls toasted, don't you, Harvey? Okay, we're going to toast it up. Oh, that's perfect. That's perfect. A little bit of horseradish on there. That's good. And some mustard. Harvey, it's all yours, buddy. And I'm going to pour Harvey a cold one. Maybe two. Come on in, Harvey. Oh, wow. Scotch, thank you so much. This is looking fantastic. And I'd like to make a toast to you. Here's to my best twin brother ever, Scotch McScotch. One heck of a cook. You're here. You're here. You're here. You're here. Oh, look, we got a nice napkin here too. Close this up. And that sauerkraut is perfect. What a sandwich. Hoo-hoo-hoo. That horseradish. The super duper special, only in Scotchland. Cheers. Here, here.
Here, here. Here, here. Here, here.
Merry Christmas, everyone.